The Zekar Empire was at peace. For 50 years, no war had touched the outer colonies. No enemy had entered their star maps. No battles, no threats, only silence across the stars. Life in the mining colony of Vorta 7 was slow and boring, just the way the workers liked it. Commander Tovak sat in the control room of the orbital station, sipping warm blue tea. His chair creaked slightly. The screens in front of him showed normal readings, asteroid drift, cargo schedules, and the heartbeat of the colony below. Everything was calm. "Status?" he asked casually. "Normal," replied Ensign Rallo without even turning. "No anomalies, no new signals, no ships in range." Tovak smiled. Another quiet day. But then something blinked on the edge of the screen. A small, dark shape appeared near Moon Delta 6. No signal, no ID. It wasn't moving fast. In fact, it was just floating. Tovak leaned forward. "Zoom in." Rallo tapped the console. The screen focused in on the object. The shape was sharp, black, and massive. It looked like a ship, but nothing like they had seen before. "It's not one of ours," Rallo whispered. "No beacon, no IFF. It's completely silent." Tovak frowned. "Is it a rock?" "No, sir. Too symmetrical. And it's facing us." Suddenly every screen flickered. The station lights dimmed for 2 seconds. Then everything went back to normal. Rallo's voice trembled. "It's interfering with our systems, without touching anything." Tovak stood up slowly. "Call High Command, now." The message took 4 minutes to reach the Empire's military outpost. General Vex received it while he was in a strategy meeting. He laughed when he read the report. One unknown ship near a mining colony? He tossed the datapad on the table. "Send 3 cruisers. It's probably pirates or some lost science vessel." But by the time the cruisers arrived near Vorta 7, the unknown ship hadn't moved. It just floated, silent, cold, and deadly. The 3 Zekar cruisers approached in battle formation. Each ship was loaded with plasma cannons and energy torpedoes. This wasn't a joke anymore. "Still no response from the object," the cruiser captain reported. "Weapons locked. Orders?" General Vex gave the command. "Fire a warning shot." The lead cruiser fired a low-powered beam across the nose of the black ship. Nothing happened. The unknown ship didn't move. Then, the Zekar ship split in half. There was no flash, no visible beam, just silence. 1 second, the ship was whole. The next second, it was 2 floating, burning halves. The 2 remaining cruisers panicked. They turned sharply to retreat, but one lost power immediately. Its engines went dead. The other tried to send a distress signal. Then the signal went dark. Back at the mining colony, Tovak and Rallo watched in silence. 3 ships. Gone. The black ship hadn't even moved. "Commander," Rallo whispered. "What do we do?" Tovak's hands were shaking. "Pray that it's not angry." News spread fast. By nightfall, every council hall in the Zekar Empire was filled with voices of fear. Who built that ship? Why didn't it speak? And how did it destroy 3 warships without firing a single visible weapon? Old advisors remembered something. A name not spoken in decades. Earth, the humans. They had once fought a terrible war with the Zekar, long ago, brutal, bloody. But after the war, Earth had gone silent. No trade, no communication, not even pirate activity. It was like humanity had vanished. But now a ship unlike anything they had seen was parked near their colony, and it wore no colors, no banners, no noise, only silence. That night, Tovak couldn't sleep. He stood at the top of the station's observatory and looked out toward the black ship. It still hadn't moved, but he felt like it was watching. Suddenly a faint red glow appeared along the side of the ship. It wasn't bright, just a slow, pulsing line. Then it stopped. The glow formed one word in old human script. Strange letters from a forgotten language. Ralo, who had studied Earth languages in school, translated it, it says. Vengeance. Tovak felt his chest tighten. One ship. No crew. No sound. And one word burned into space. Vengeance. General Vex stared at the replay of the battle for the 5th time. His hands were tight around the edge of the war table, his jaw clenched harder with every second of the silent footage. 3 Zekar cruisers, armed, trained, proud, had disappeared in less than 2 minutes. The enemy ship never moved. No lights, no heat flare, no known energy reading. Just power. Across the Empire, people called it the Ghost. Vex didn't like ghosts. He liked facts. But what he saw on the screen wasn't fiction. "Are we sure this came from Earth?" he asked. One of the officers nodded. The symbol on the side. Human script. It says Vengeance Class. That's Earth design. But Earth hasn't made contact in 80 years, Vex muttered. They didn't even answer during the trade requests or war drills. Why now? No one had an answer. At Vorta 7, the black ship still waited near Moon Delta 6. The mining colony was silent. No ships left, no cargo arrived. Everyone was afraid to move. Commander Tovak walked slowly through the empty halls of the orbital station. Even the lights seemed dimmer. "Any change?" he asked Ralo. Ralo shook his head. "Nothing. But the scanners can't read anything inside the ship. It's like it's made of shadow." Tovak rubbed his face. "Then it's not a ship. It's a message." Back at Zekar High Command, the Emperor had made a decision. "We must show strength," he declared. "Send a fleet." General Vex stood tall in the war chamber. "Yes, Your Majesty, I suggest a full carrier group. 12 battlecruisers, 6 destroyers, 3 stealth frigates." The Emperor slammed his fist on the table. "Send 20. No less. Surround it, crush it, remind the galaxy why we rule." Orders were given. The fleet launched. It was the biggest deployment since the border wars. 20 warships jumped into orbit around Vorta 7 in perfect formation. Tovak saw them appear on radar and whispered, "Too much. This is too much." From space, the black ship still did not move. It stayed in the same spot, untouched by gravity or fear. The fleet spread out like a net. "All weapons online," the admiral of the fleet said. Every ship aimed at the black vessel. The admiral gave the final command. "Fire!" Dozens of energy blasts streaked across the stars. They hit the ghost ship head-on. Smoke and fire exploded across space. The entire colony below watched in silence. Then the fire cleared. The ghost ship still stood, untouched, unburned. No scratches, no dents, just silence. The fleet hesitated. Then the black ship moved. Not fast, not dramatic. Just a slow turn, like it was looking at them. Then lights appeared along its side, lines glowing in a strange red pattern. The Zekar ships tried to move. They couldn't. Every control system froze. Weapons locked up, engines powered down. Shields failed. On every ship, the lights went dark. No power, no sound, no warning. One by one, the ships drifted helplessly. Then a bright flash erupted from the ghost ship's core. Not an explosion, a wave, an invisible pulse spread in all directions. Inside the Zekar ships, alarms rang, metal cracked, screens shattered. The ships weren't destroyed, they were disabled. Every ship shut down completely. Back on the orbital station, Tovak and Ralo watched in horror. 20 ships, Ralo whispered, all disabled, without a single shot. Tovak stared at the ghost ship. "What kind of technology is this?" he asked. No one knew. On the main viewing screen, new red letters lit up. 3 simple words. "Don't follow us!" Then the ghost ship slowly turned away from the colony. It moved toward the inner systems of the Empire. No warp, no flash, just silent flight. A single ship moving deeper into enemy territory without fear. Tovak sat down heavily in his chair. "What does it want?" Ralo asked. Tovak didn't answer because he knew. It wasn't looking for war, it was proving a point. Earth was not gone. Earth had just been watching. Inside the Zekar capital, chaos ruled. The Emperor shouted at his advisors. Generals argued with scientists. Priests whispered ancient prophecies. No one could agree on what to do next, but deep down, they all felt the same thing. Fear. One human ship had paralyzed their strongest fleet, and it was still moving. No one knew how to stop it. No one knew what it would do next. And worst of all, no one had heard a single word from the humans. Far away, on a quiet moon, a child looked up at the stars. A streak of light passed over the sky. The child pointed and smiled. "Look, Mama, a shooting star." But her mother stared in silence, because she knew that wasn't a star. That was the ghost ship, and it was heading straight for the heart of the Empire. The capital of the Zekar Empire was not used to fear. Tall silver towers stood under the black sky of Zekar Prime. Massive banners flew from government buildings. Every street was guarded. Every system was controlled. The Empire ruled hundreds of worlds with power and pride. But now, that pride was cracking. Inside the High Command building, the top leaders of the Empire were gathered. Generals, scientists, diplomats, and even old war priests sat around a long black table. Everyone was talking at once. Screens showed live feeds of the ghost ship moving toward the inner systems, still silent, still alone. "It destroyed nothing," one diplomat said. "It could have wiped out our fleet, but it didn't." "Exactly," snapped a general. "It humiliated us. That's worse." "Maybe it's not here to attack," a younger commander offered. "Maybe it wants to talk." Another general laughed coldly. "Then why did it erase our cruisers without blinking?" No one had an answer. Emperor Solon sat at the head of the room. His eyes were sharp but tired. He had ruled for 70 years. He had seen uprisings, famines, invasions, but never this. "Never a ghost ship from Earth. Why is it here?" he asked quietly. His voice cut through the room. An old advisor, Veril, stood slowly. He was once a soldier during the Earth Wars. "Because we made a mistake," Veril said. "We forgot what humans really are." The room fell silent. Veril touched a screen and a file opened. Old records, hidden history, bloody photos, burnt cities. A map showing human attacks from decades ago. "During the last war," he said, "we tried to force Earth to surrender. We attacked their colonies. We broke their trade routes. We even bombed their moon base." A young officer asked, "And then?" "They disappeared," Veril said. "Vanished. No talks, no revenge, just silence. We thought we had won." "But they didn't surrender," someone asked. Veril shook his head. "No, they waited. They watched. And now," he pointed to the screen, "now they're back." On the outer edge of the Zekar system, the ghost ship glided past a defense station. The guards inside the station scrambled to respond. Missiles were launched, drones deployed. But the moment the weapons got near the ship, they all shut off mid-flight and dropped. The station itself lost power. The ship never turned. It just passed by, like nothing around it mattered, like it had already calculated everything in advance. In the capital, panic spread. People on the streets whispered about Earth. Some called it a ghost race. Others said they had evolved beyond normal life. Children were told stories about the silent ones, humans who never spoke but always struck. In the military zones, soldiers were told to prepare for war. But how do you prepare for a ghost? Back inside the war room, the Emperor stood. "If Earth has returned," he said, "we must speak to them. Now, open a channel." A team of engineers rushed to activate long-unused communication frequencies, those once used to speak with humans during the old days. "We're broadcasting," one of them said. "Message sent." They waited. 1 minute, 2-5, no reply. Then the signal changed. The screens in the room went black. A single image appeared. Not a face, not a voice, just words. "We are not here to talk." The message faded. Then a new line appeared. "You knew this day would come." Silence filled the room again. The Emperor's face turned pale. "Why now?" he whispered. Why, after all this time? No one could answer. Meanwhile, the ghost ship reached a populated world, Verdun 6. A planet rich in resources, guarded by heavy war satellites, all systems activated. Target locks prepared, but the ship didn't attack. Instead, every screen on the planet displayed the same message. This is not war, this is correction. The defense grid collapsed. Satellites fell, yet not a single shot was fired. The ghost ship moved on. Back at High Command, fear turned into arguments. We must destroy it, yelled General Kovar. We tried, someone replied. Then call the Galactic Council, another shouted. Ask for help, the Emperor raised his hand. No, we must fix this ourselves. How? A scientist asked. We don't understand. The ship's power, it's beyond anything we've seen. Everyone turned to Veril again. What would the humans want? The Emperor asked. Veril stared at the screen. They want us to feel weak. They want us to remember what we did to them. They want us to know, he took a breath, that they are still watching. The ghost ship continued toward the core worlds. System after system lost power. Ships froze in orbit. Cities went dark. Everywhere it went, it left no destruction, only silence. But that silence was louder than any war. And across the Empire, one name began to rise again. Earth, not as a memory, but as a warning. Because this wasn't just a warship, it was a reminder. The humans had not forgotten, and they had never forgiven. The ghost ship moved deeper into the Zekar Empire, system by system, never stopping, never speaking, no weapons fired, no defenses held. Everywhere it passed, lights died, scanners failed, and fear spread like fire. Zekar ships stopped chasing it. Colonies shut down their launch pads. Civilian transports changed routes to avoid even getting close to it. It was not war. It was something worse. It was the silence before a storm. At High Command, the Emperor paced across the war room. His commanders sat in silence. Even the loudest generals had stopped shouting. Their pride had been shattered. Enough, the Emperor finally said. We must know what's inside that ship. Everyone looked up. Send a stealth vessel, he ordered. A spy ship, small, fast. It must get close without being seen. It must find out what we are facing. General Vex stood. That will be dangerous. Every ship that neared it has disappeared. The Emperor turned. I didn't ask for survivors. I asked for answers. In deep space, a black Zekar stealth ship launched from a hidden base. It was small, only 4 crew members. Its name was Whisper. Designed for espionage, the Whisper could fly without heat trails, bend light around its hull, and jam enemy sensors. It had never been seen on radar, never caught in battle. Captain Reth, the leader of the mission, was a quiet man. He didn't believe in ghosts. He believed in evidence. This ship may be powerful, he told his crew, but it still follows the laws of physics. It's a machine. Machines can be studied. But even he felt uneasy when the ghost ship came into view. It was beautiful and terrifying, black as space itself, with a shape unlike any other. Long, sharp, and smooth, as if grown rather than built. Red lines pulsed faintly across its surface like slow-moving blood. No life signs, whispered his engineer. No heat signatures. No radiation. Captain Reth stared. Are we even looking at a ship? They moved closer. The Whisper held its cloak. The ghost ship did not react. Closer, closer, then without warning their screens changed. A message appeared on every panel. You are not unseen. The crew froze. They hadn't sent a signal. They hadn't made a sound, and yet the ship knew. Then all power on the Whisper went out, engines died, lights shut down, breathing systems slowed. Only the screens stayed on, glowing red. Another message appeared. You have seen enough. Then the Whisper vanished from all Zekar tracking systems. No debris, no signal, no explosion, just silence. High Command waited for updates. An hour passed, then 2, then 3. Finally, a small package arrived, an auto-return probe, pre-programmed to come back. If the ship failed, inside the data core was only one image. It showed the ghost ship from close range. On the side of the ship, something new had appeared, another word glowing in deep red: witness. Below the image, the recording ended. The crew of the Whisper was gone. Panic returned to Zekar Prime. Crowds stormed government buildings. People demanded answers. Videos of the lost fleet and the missing spy ship spread across the networks. Some screamed that the humans had returned to take revenge. Others believed the ship wasn't human at all, but a weapon Earth had built and lost control of. But the truth didn't matter anymore. Only one thing was clear: no one could stop it. Inside the Imperial Palace, the Emperor sat alone. He watched the last image from the Whisper again. Witness, he spoke softly to himself. Are you warning us? Or showing us what's coming? Then he turned to Veril, the old advisor. What did Earth become after the war? Veril shook his head. No one knows. They never joined any new alliances. They stayed in their system. They refused all peace talks. And now, they don't want peace, Veril said. They want us to see what? That they are not like us anymore. Meanwhile, the ghost ship reached another world, Kovon 3, a small research planet. Its defense grid activated, but it didn't fire. Instead, the scientists on the surface received a strange message on their laboratory computers. We were quiet. You broke that silence. Then all data on the planet's systems was erased. Research files, weapon designs, even history records, everything gone. Not stolen, deleted, as if the past had never existed. Then the ship left. Back in space, a merchant ship accidentally crossed near the ghost ship's path. The crew tried to avoid it. They failed, but instead of being destroyed, they were simply stopped. The lights inside their ship froze, their clocks halted, their voices echoed like they were trapped in a loop. Then the ghost ship passed by, and everything went back to normal. They had been paused in time for 12 full minutes. When they returned, their memories of that moment were unclear, but one crew member remembered something. He said he saw a face, human, but glowing. It said nothing, just stared. As if disappointed, the merchant ship's report spread fast. It confirmed what many now feared. The ship wasn't just a weapon, it had intelligence. It chose who to harm, who to spare, what to erase, what to leave. This wasn't war. It was judgment. The Emperor called a secret meeting. Just 5 people, only the most trusted. We must prepare for one thing, he said. This ship is not acting alone. You think there are more? Asked General Vex. No, the Emperor replied. I think it's only the beginning. The ghost ship was now deep inside the Zekar Empire. Every world it passed was left in fear. Entire systems shut down their satellites the moment it approached. Space stations powered down without orders. Civilian transports turned away and vanished into hyperspace lanes. Everyone had learned the lesson. You do not challenge the ghost. It still hadn't fired a single weapon. It didn't speak, it didn't explain, but its silence was louder than any fleet. And its path was clear. It was heading straight toward Zekar Prime, the capital world. In the palace, Emperor Solon stood at his window, watching the skies. He could see the star trails of military ships fleeing the capital. Cowards, he whispered. Even my admirals run from a single vessel. Veril entered the room slowly. The ghost ship is one day away, he said. Shall we evacuate, Your Majesty? The Emperor turned. Evacuate? No, I will stay. Let Earth come. Let them show their face. But they haven't shown anything, Veril said. No words, no demands, just silence. Exactly, the Emperor replied, which means they're waiting for us to break first. Across the planet, defense platforms prepared their last stand. Hundreds of anti-orbital cannons were aimed at the skies. Thousands of drones stood ready. Zekar's final command ship, the Iron Halo, hovered in low orbit. General Vex stood on the quay, bridge, breathing slowly. He had once believed no one could challenge the Empire. Now he wasn't sure if it even existed anymore. The ghost ship appeared on the edge of the system, just like before. No lights, no signal, no sound. But something had changed. Now, there were smaller glowing dots around it. They weren't ships, they were satellites, probes, debris. Everything the ship had disabled or erased along its path now followed it, like silent trophies. A long trail of memory, a warning made of floating wreckage. Inside Zekar Prime, panic returned. People begged to leave the cities. Shelters filled up. Some groups even began to worship the ghost ship, calling it the final judgment. Others believed it was not Earth, but something older, something that had taken the shape of Earth's lost power. But the truth didn't matter anymore. Everyone only cared about one thing. What would it do when it arrived? The ship entered Zekar Prime's orbit. Every defense cannon on the planet locked on it. Every drone swarmed toward it. And once again, the ghost ship didn't react. It hovered above the capital like a god staring down at insects. Then something new happened. Every screen on the planet turned black. Phones, TVs, billboards, control rooms, everything went dark. Then a single sentence appeared. "Do you remember what you did to us?" The people froze. The Emperor stood still, and the past returned. A memory no one wanted to recall. Decades ago, the Zekar Empire had sent war fleets to Earth's outer colonies. Earth had refused to join their galactic trade network. The Empire punished them. They destroyed Earth's moonbase. They poisoned one of Earth's farming planets. They killed millions, and Earth did nothing. No war, no message, just silence. Everyone thought Earth had accepted defeat, but now it was clear Earth had been waiting. A second message appeared on every screen. This is not revenge. This is correction. And then in a flash, all military systems across Zekar Prime shut down. Every cannon, every drone, every weapon, gone. Without a sound, without damage, just offline. The Emperor screamed into the air. "Fight, you cowards! Launch the Halo, shoot it down!" But the Iron Halo, orbiting above, had already gone dark. A bright beam came down from the ghost ship. Not a weapon. Not an attack, just light. The beam hit the main government building. Everyone expected destruction, but when the light faded, the palace still stood, except it had changed. The massive statues of Zekar generals were gone. The Empire's banners had vanished. In their place stood a single, simple symbol, the Earth crest, a small blue planet inside a circle of stars, a symbol of peace, a symbol of warning. The ghost ship turned slowly. For the first time it spoke. A voice echoed in every mind, not through speakers, not through machines, but directly into the thoughts of every being on the planet. It said just 3 words: "We are awake." Then the voice was gone. The ship turned away from Zekar Prime. It did not attack, it did not wait, it simply left. For hours, the skies were quiet, and then the Emperor collapsed in his throne. He had not been killed by a weapon. He had been crushed by silence, by shame, by history returning like thunder. Across the galaxy, the ghost ship continued its journey. It entered deep space once more. Some say it returned to Earth. Others believe it still travels, visiting every empire that once touched Earth with harm. No one knows for sure, but one thing is certain: humanity didn't forget. They waited, they watched, and when they finally returned, they didn't come with war. They came with silence. And that silence was louder than any scream. Zekar Prime never recovered. The streets remained quiet. The skies stayed dark. No alarms, no orders, no fleets. The empire that once shouted across the stars now whispered in corners, afraid to raise its voice. Power stations were reset, command rooms repaired, but the silence left behind by the ghost ship could not be erased. And in that silence, something happened. The empire changed. The new High Chancellor stood before the Council of Worlds. She was young, bold, and unafraid to speak the truth. "Our pride blinded us," she said. "Our strength turned to arrogance. Earth did not come to destroy us. They came to remind us who we became." The council sat in silence. Every leader, every officer, every voice once drunk on power, now humbled by the memory of a single ship. A single sentence. "We are awake." Across the galaxy, people told the story. The ship that didn't speak but made everyone listen. The war that never began but ended something much worse. And the species no one understood until it was too late. Humans, once seen as wild, chaotic, unpredictable. But now, something more. Something the galaxy couldn't classify. In a distant room beneath the palace, Veril stood alone in front of an old data terminal. He opened a private file. It was hidden during the last war. A file marked "Forgotten Contact." Inside were messages Earth had sent years ago. Peace proposals, warnings, requests for privacy, all ignored, all deleted. Until now. He pressed "Restore" and let the truth come back. Meanwhile, far from Zekar space, the ghost ship floated silently near a dying star. No signal, no movement, just quiet. Inside the ship, no crew could be found, no bridge, no windows, only machines, sleeping, waiting, watching. The ship was not just a vessel, it was a decision, built by humanity, not for war, but for the last word, a message wrapped in metal and silence. Back on Zekar Prime, the people no longer called it a ghost. They called it the Judge. The Vengeance-class ship had never fired a direct shot. It didn't need to. Its presence alone had brought an empire to its knees. Months passed, then one day, without warning, a shuttle from Earth arrived in open space. Not a warship, not a drone, just a sleek, peaceful vessel with a clear signal. It sent a simple message to the Zekar border. Permission to talk. The galaxy held its breath. The Empire, once proud and ruthless, answered with one word: "Please." The first human envoy in 80 years stepped out in peace. She wore no armor. She carried no weapon, only a single black badge, shaped like the ghost ship. She smiled calmly and spoke the words everyone feared and hoped to hear. "We came to remind, not to rule." And with those words the galaxy shifted, not with war, not with blood, but with memory and fear and understanding. Inside the council hall, the new chancellor bowed her head. "We accept your terms." The human envoy smiled softly. "There are no terms. Only one rule." Everyone leaned in. The room was silent. Then the envoy said, "Never touch Earth again." And with that she walked away. No treaty, no signature, no negotiation, just a reminder. The story spread like wildfire to every star system, every empire, every forgotten race hiding in the dark. The day Earth returned and said nothing. The day a single ship made the stars hold their breath. The day the mighty Zekar Empire bowed. And in quiet corners of space, people looked toward the blue planet. They didn't send scouts. They didn't send threats. They didn't send trade. They just watched, because they knew Earth was watching too. And if another war ever came, they would not speak. They would not shout. They would simply appear in your backyard.